Space rose to prominence as the most precious resource after chemical warfare rendered much of Earth's soil unusable. There are now just two habitable regions left, the colony and the United Federation of Britain, or U.F.B. every day. Employees from the colony use the fall, a gravity elevator that goes into the planet's core to get to the other side, to commute to the U.F.B. Douglas Quaid awakens on the floor, covered in blood. Before they leave the room, a mystery lady gives him a pistol. The two go through halls until they are forced to take another route due to the presence of armed cops in their path. Quaid gives the lady a kiss and declares his love for her while they are hiding. When Quaid hears that she loves him back, he smashes the window and lets the lady go. However, the guards open fire on them, striking one of their hands twice. Then one of the guards sets up a trap that encircles Quaid. As the guards grab Quaid, the lady stumbles. Beside his wife Lori in bed is where Quaid awakens. Lori wonders whether Quaid feels stuck in their relationship because of his recurrent nightmares in which he seems to be confined. She is reassured by Quaid that it's only a dream. Lori, a medic, is called in to help after a passenger train bombing by the resistance. The report attributes the assaults to Matthias's resistance. Matthias thinks that the fall represents the captivity of the colony laborers, who are exploited by the U.F.B. Matthias' actions are seen by Chancellor Cohagen as only a ruse to start a fight. Investigations revealed that Carl Hauser, a former U.F.B. intelligence officer who is now thought to be Matthias' right-hand man, was responsible for another blast that happened 6 weeks earlier. Quaid sees an advertising for Recall, a business that transforms dreams into memories, on his way to work. Quaid boards the fall with his coworker Harry in tow. Quaid bemoans their boring routine as they wait to leave. Harry switches chairs to make him laugh. They see Cohagen's declaration during a ride that the colony would no longer get funds for humanitarian help in order to strengthen the police force in response to the recent attack. Their seats rotate to account for the change in gravity as the fall approaches the Earth's core. Quaid questions Harry about Recall as he's getting ready for work. Harry tells him not to do it, relating the story of a former coworker who had Recall services and ended up lobotomized. Due to the increased demand for police synthetics after the incident, manufacturing workers are being forced to work extra shifts. As part of his training duties, Quaid shows Marek his hand wound as an illustration of the kind of mishaps that might occur at work. Quaid becomes intrigued when Marek reveals that he has visited Recall 3 times. The government is vetting the colony employees' loyalties in light of the assaults. Quaid is compelled to attest that he is not involved in any efforts to topple a government by signing a non-disclosure agreement. Quaid signs the paper even though he thinks it's ludicrous. He finds Lori sleeping at home, so he and Harry go to the pub. Quaid acknowledges his desire to take on a more significant task. Quaid is accused by Harry of thinking about other women, which is what causes these ideas. Yet Quaid disputes that. Quaid leaves their drinking and goes to Recall. He encounters Recall technician Mac there. Mac describes how Recall uses the chemistry of the brain to implant memories as if they were genuine. When Mac entices Quaid to consider any desire, he settles on a secret agent scenario. Mac suggests that he is a double agent, upping the ante. Mac emphasizes that none of the fantasy's components must be actual when putting Quaid into the Recall machine, as doing so would cause the brain to get confused about what is real and what is fiction. Quaid does, in fact, go through a psychopolygraphic panel. Quaid receives an injection as Mac diagnoses his madness. Once the equipment has been turned on, Mac discovers something on Quaid's psychological profile. He declares him to be an actual spy, stopping the mission. When Mac raises his rifle to kill him, the federal police rushes in and opens fire, holding him at gunpoint. Quaid emphasizes that he is nothing more than a nobody. Quaid feels something within him as the cops get closer, and he quickly beats them on his own. After the adrenaline wears off, Quaid realizes what he'd done and is startled. When he attempts to flee, additional cops get in the way. Quaid seizes the grenades from the dead cops and shuts the door. Just as the bombs go off, the cops outside push their way inside. Quaid is able to escape through a hole in the floor caused by the explosion. Just as Quaid gets back, Lori is on the phone at home talking to someone. Quaid admits to Lori that he murdered the cops when she sees the news accusing the resistance of carrying out the assault at Recall. Lori makes an effort to persuade him that Recall altered his perception. When Lori gives Quaid an overly strong embrace, it leads to a fight. Quaid ducks behind a wall as Lori pulls a rifle from a medical bag. Lori lets down her guard and talks with her accent from Britain. By diverting her attention, Quaid makes it possible for him to take the rifle from her and threaten her with it. When asked about her role as his wife, Lori admits that she is a U.F.B. intelligence operative. Quaid and her met barely 6 weeks ago, yet he recalls being with her for 7 years. Douglas Quaid never existed, and Lori is unaware of his real identity. Lori swats the pistol out of Quaid's hand while he is preoccupied. Quaid flees through the glass pane as Laurie takes the gun. In the downpour, the two hop from building to building. Quaid is shot through the sunroof by Laurie as he crashes into an apartment. Despite seeing a synthetic policeman on the streets, Quaid lowers to get away from Laurie. After vanquishing the artificial cop, he flees. In order to trace Quaid, Laurie gives the instruction to turn on his phone. When it's finally safe to move, Quaid's phone rings in his hand. The caller introduces himself as Hammond, and he answers. Quaid and Hammond eventually get to meet one another via video conference that is made possible by a retail display. After disclosing that they were employed by federal intelligence, Hammond alerts him to the fact that the FBI had set his phone to monitor him. He is told to locate a key by Hammond, but no additional explanation is given. Quaid is recognized by Hammond as Henry, and he is advised to dispose of the phone before hanging up. There is a note for Quaid about a safety deposit box. Quaid stabs his hand and takes out the phone as Hammond says. Later on, when with another guy, a synthetic cop finds Quaid's phone. Laurie is upset that Quaid threw away his phone. Cohaagen calls and chastises her for not having caught Quaid. She responds that she wasn't informed of Quaid's tactical training. Quaid must be captured alive under Cohaagen's instructions so that he may be re-implanted. Laurie wants to know Quaid's identity upon hearing this. When she answers the phone in private, Cohaagen exposes Quaid's identity. Following the call, Laurie gives her men the order to assassinate Quaid against Cohaagen's wishes. Quaid goes to the bank in the meanwhile to see how his safety deposit box is doing. He discovers many passports inside, including those belonging to two separate men, one called Hammond and the other to Henry Reed. Along with cash, he also takes out a little item that resembles a torch and a collar. He sees himself on the video recording that he turned on from the box. Quaid describes in the video the process of reconstructing his face. Quaid tells himself to go get the key and go to his apartment. As the video comes to a finish, Quaid is apprehended. A guy gets stopped at the terminal the next day. The man's expression changes as the guard interrogates him, and eventually the gadget turns off to expose Quaid's face. After taking down the guard, Quaid takes out the face-changing gadget. When Laurie gets there, she takes the gadget that Quaid left behind. When Quaid leaps atop a flying automobile, he unintentionally becomes caught in the midst of a busy road. Abruptly, a vehicle pulls over and the door opens, showing the lady of his dreams sitting in the driver's seat. When Quaid enters, Melina, the lady, claims she has been searching for him. Laurie follows them as further cops pursue them. Melina deactivates a synthetic cop and barely escapes several bullets. Melina is forced to hand Quaid the steering wheel as Laurie crashes into their vehicle. Melina takes aim at the police vehicles, taking out all of them with the exception of Laurie's. Laurie quits the roadway and follows Quaid. When Quaid notices a chopper in their path, he smashes the car's magnetic suspension and causes it to fall. Just before it reaches the ground, Quaid engages the suspension, but it breaks down and crashes. Melina lying lifeless beside him, Quaid gets out of the vehicle. However, he turns around and chooses to bring her along. When Quaid arrives at the residence, he places Melina on a lounge chair. Quaid then goes through the residence. Pushing a mirror after seeing a handprint reveals a secret shelf with a rifle and ammo within. Quaid searches for a while before giving up and sitting down beside the piano. He plays a note carelessly and discovers he can really play. Quaid is enjoying himself until he hits an out-of-key note. He takes it off and replaces it with a gadget that resembles a flashlight. He restarts the song in the right key, causing the piano's video feed to come on. The face of another guy, Carl Hauser, is seen in the footage. He finds out that Hauser is a federal intelligence operative tasked with killing Matthias via the interactive video. Hauser learns, however, that he was fighting for the wrong side while on his assignment. He reveals that the assaults that are held against the resistance were orchestrated by Cohaagen. This serves to rationalize the massive synthesis of officers needed to assemble Cohaagen's army and launch an invasion on the colony. Hauser gives Quaid the command to use the kill code to stop the artificial cops. Quaid is Hauser, and even if Cohaagen deleted his memories, he would still remember the death code since he built a safe within his brain. Melina verifies that it's real when she wakes up after the video concludes. When she refers to him as Hauser, Quaid becomes irritated and emphasizes that he is Douglas Quaid. Melina, however, disputes his recollections. Their desire to flee is reflected in his dream about her. She displays the same scar on her hand to demonstrate this. A gunshot passed through both of their hands, wounding them as they were making their getaway. They know the cops are approaching because of the lights. The building is already encircled as the two flee via the fire exit. Harry surprises Quaid by approaching him. Harry admits that Quaid is still in recall by explaining that he was put inside his head. Melina says Harry is telling lies. Harry explains that he is there to persuade him to wake up after finding him unconscious at recall. Melina claims that this is all a ruse to get him back to Cohaagen. But Harry keeps finding methods to undermine Melina's claims, gradually winning Quaid over. Abruptly, Quaid spots Laurie among the throng outside, sobbing and begging the police to save her. Quaid recalls that Laurie wasn't working when he got to Recall, despite Harry telling him that Laurie quit work to meet him there. Upon seeing Quaid's skepticism, Harry takes the pistol from Melina and returns it to her in an attempt to persuade Quaid once again. Quaid seems to be persuaded until Harry tells him to shoot Melina in the head, saying that she is the source of his dream. Melina tries to shoot Quaid because she thinks he will be captured again, but she is unable to do so. Quaid shoots Harry despite Harry's insistence that he shoot Melina. As a result, Laurie drops her act and grabs her gun, starting a gunfight with the cops. Quaid, having fled by elevator, laments Harry in a furious manner. When they exit the elevator, Laurie stops them because she recognizes Hauser and lets them know that Cohaagen wants him back. Laurie decides to murder him since she believes he is a traitor. Melina fires at Laurie out of rage, but Laurie hides behind the fake cops. Quaid runs out of ammunition and smashes open the elevator doors to get out. The two avoid gunfire and elevators, and when they find themselves trapped, they force their way inside. When the elevator opens, Laurie shoots fire, killing all of the people inside. The elevator is forced down by Quaid, but Laurie and a synthetic police intervene, and the four get into a fistfight. Laurie sets off a bomb before leaping from the elevator, but Quaid manages to push the synthetic out. Just as the elevator bursts, the two leap from it. To avoid the cops, the two blend in among the population on the streets. The governor of the colony is sponsoring the resistance, the press reports. This is how Cohaagen justifies sending his troops to the colony. Melina leads Quaid into a metro station, where she introduces her allies to Quaid as Hauser. Although Quaid is still unsure, he accepts their offer to meet Melina's father Matthias. They go to the No Zone, an area where the resistance has been hiding due to poisonous contamination. They go to an enclosed area where they can breathe securely while donning gas masks. When Quaid first meets Matthias, he acknowledges that he wants to recall his identity, but Matthias maintains that Quaid's history is irrelevant. What his heart tells him matters. They watch Quaid's memories using the technology akin to Recall in order to extract the death code from his head. The gadget breaks while attempting to crack the encryption, exposing a Cohaagen video stream. Melina extracts Quaid from the apparatus after realizing it's a trap, but it's too late. Robots invade and shoot anybody they come across. When Quaid retaliates, additional cops, including Laurie and Cohaagen, surround them. Cohaagen discloses that Matthias was tricked into believing the murder code was real. Matthias is shot by Cohaagen and dies in Melina's arms. Melina attacks Cohaagen out of wrath, but Laurie knocks her down. Cohaagen offers to take Quaid back to his former life and expresses gratitude for guiding him to Matthias. Surprised by his offer, Quaid takes it. In order to demonstrate his loyalty, Quaid consents to trigger the death code. Melina is crying, and Quaid resists the temptation to murder Cohaagen. Quaid reverses the situation for Cohaagen by triggering the death code for all synthetic cops just as he is about to press the button. As mayhem breaks out, Laurie is made to disarm by Quaid. Laurie gives Quaid a smug grin as they both aim at each other, and then he shoots her. Quaid and Melina leave Cohaagen on his own to handle the mayhem. As they get to the control room, Quaid turns on the gravity elevator, causing the fall to plunge into the Earth's core. Through the ruins, the two hug as they watch the daybreak. Quaid has a brief moment of calm as he realizes that they are at last free. Regardless of what happens, they are eager to start a new life together and move on from their past.